Hi, Year 10. So to sort you out for today, you will need, for this lesson, pen and paper. Use this to take notes from the lesson, and these notes will then be stuck into your books when we return to class. So you can take pictures, send them to show my homework once you've done the work, or you can send it to my email when you're done. And remember this little symbol at the bottom to write down information when you see that symbol. So like we do in lessons, so you see that symbol, write down notes, make sure they're nice and long, as in sentences, not like one word answers as always. And yeah, so then take the pictures, send them to me via show my homework. So here are your starter questions. So write down the questions. You can see that symbol at the top. So write down the questions as they come up. Remember, you can pause this video at any time, being that it's on YouTube. So copy down these questions and put down your answers, and then flip to the next slide for the answers. So remembering that one of the functions of fat is energy, which we also need. So fat is also for body insulation and storing those fat-soluble vitamins, but its main purpose and function is energy. So the two sources, saturated fat. So saturated being from animals. The one missing there, though, from the animals, you can see in that answer is coconut oil, but that's very high in saturated fats. These saturated fats mainly come from animals. And the two sources of unsaturated fat are your plant-based. So sunflowers, vegetable oils, avocados, low-fat spreads, etc. And then explain why chips are cooked in lard would not be suitable for vegetarians. Lard is pig fat, animal fat, so vegetarians, they don't eat meat. So remember, as we always do with these nutrients, so remember there are 3 macronutrients, which I keep pushing on you guys to remember, to understand, to get a grips with in food and nutrition, because they are very important. There are 3 of the macronutrients. Can you name them? So pause the slide, say what you think of the answers, write them down, and then continue. So well done if you've got the carbs, proteins, and fats, your macronutrients. So in today's learning objectives, what we're doing today is we're going to understand more about protein, so looking further into protein and the difference between HBV proteins and LBV proteins, these being high biological value and low biological value. We're going to name some of the functions and sources of protein in the diet and understand what happens when we're deficient, when we're not getting enough protein in our diet. You will probably recognize, will most probably recognize, some of the things that are cropping up in this this lesson, but there are things added, especially for year 10, to know about these high biological value and low biological value. Definition of macronutrients. So macronutrients are the type of food required in large amounts. So like you can make a note of this or think of it in this way. So breaking that word down so it makes a little bit more sense. So macro and nutrients, break them down into 2 parts. So you define the word macro meaning big, large. So we need these nutrients in large amounts, macronutrients. And then you have to find the word nutrients. And these are the foods that are essential for life and growth. The foods that we intake, they are giving us nutrients to live, to breathe, to live and survive. So large meaning macro meaning large, and then nutrients. So macronutrients, we need these nutrients that are for life and growth in large amounts. So as you can see here, this is what we're looking at today, protein, macronutrients, and you have your symbol there. This is our title. Recapping, so protein is a macronutrient. We need protein in large amounts. So it's needed by all animals, including humans. So this is its definition. All protein foods are made up of protein molecules. So within these protein foods are these protein molecules, and this is what a protein molecule looks like. So you could take this from a particular protein food, whether it be meat, fish, eggs, and so on, high in protein. And each of these protein molecules are made up, as you can see, of these things called amino acids. So protein foods, when we name them, the main ones are that are high in protein and high amino acids, very high: meat, fish, eggs, cheese, and milk. And you can notice from just those five that they come from animals. So these animal proteins are very high in protein. You also have nuts and beans, good for your vegetarians. And then, as we'll see later on, there's also, you have your corn, you have your tofu, and so on for vegetarians, so and vegans. So they're again going to plant-based products, and they're all of these are a good source of protein for us. So you can see a little symbol up in the top left corner. So we're writing all these down. So protein molecules are made up of amino acids. Remember, you can pause the video anytime to write down these notes. So protein molecules are made up of these amino acids, which we saw in the diagram earlier. And there are about 20 of these in all. And they can be found in a variety of combinations in different protein-based foods. So that protein molecule that we saw earlier can be made up of so many amino acids. So if it's high in protein, it'll have all of these amino acids, and if it's low in protein, it won't have all of those 20 amino acids. So with these amino acids, so coming back, and you can see the protein molecule there with all the different amino acids. You've got to think of these, a good way to think of these is like Lego pieces. So when these different amino acids are taken in by our body, you've got to think of them that they're within a particular combination. And I try and make this out to be like as in Lego pieces. So think of, like, I don't know, the Lego movie with the master builders, and they can change whenever they wish to these Lego into different shapes and sizes and so on. And it's kind of the same with amino acids. So amino acids, for example, think of them like Lego pieces when so we're intaking these different amino acids, which then produce or then help our bodies with different functions, so brain functions, nerve functions, and so on. So this kind of illustrates it better. So when we eat these proteins with these amino acids, so think of these little Lego pieces as different amino acids. The body, when it's digesting, the body is digesting the foods with the protein. The amino acids are then changing. They then change, and then they get put into different areas of the body where the body is saying, I need this. So it's saying, I need this for my nerve function, I need this for brain function, and so on. And the body is doing this in the digestive process with these protein foods and amino acids. So your body is so clever in making new, so repairing itself or doing itself a favor by eating this protein foods, using these amino acids in those protein foods to function. So to illustrate it further, there's a poster here, so with protein at the top with its protein molecule. So your protein foods, all made up of these protein molecules, which are found in protein-rich foods or foods with protein. And then each molecule is made up of an amino acid. So these amino acids are broken down. So they're broken up during digestion. And then your body is going, do I need this? So if it's saying yes, then as you can see down here, it's saying, oh, okay, well, I'll build some new cells, I'll make new proteins. Again, brain function, nerve function. These amino acids do lots of different jobs. You could also buy the individual amino acids in health food shops and so on, depending on whether you need certain functions for your body that you seem to be deficient in, that you're not getting from protein foods that you can't have or can't get hold of for some reason. But then if your body doesn't need it, the body gets rid of it in waste. Going back to essential amino acids, there are some that cannot be produced by the body. Within the body, it's able to produce proteins and so on. So our bodies are producing proteins and enzymes, being the clever model that it is. But then there are some there are some amino acids that cannot be produced by our bodies, hence why we have to obtain them through high protein foods. So these high protein foods or complementing protein foods for vegetarians and so on, these are called essential amino acids. So when we have these high protein foods like, again, chicken, fish, or complementing with different vegetarian foods, as they do not have all of these essential amino acids, this is how we get those essential amino acids to top up all those 20 amino acids that we need for the body. So what I'm saying is there are some amino acids that are being made within the body, but then it's saying here that there are 8 that are essential and that we need from these high protein foods. Sources of protein in the diet, there are 3 of them. So there are 3 main sources of protein in our diet where we get them from, or where we should be getting them from. And they suit a range of lifestyle choices. By that I mean, by lifestyle choices, we're talking about mainly vegetarian or vegan diets to help these essential amino acids into our diet. Remember, not all foods contain these essential amino acids. The only essential amino acids that you'll be getting are from high foods in protein, which are meats. But then with vegetarians, they're not getting these essential amino acids. Therefore, they need to complement them with other foods. So you got your little symbol there, animal protein. That's the first of our protein foods, our protein areas. So these are high in protein. So these are high biological values. So meat, fish, eggs, and dairy products. Remember, you can pause to copy these down. So these foods, as I've been saying throughout this PowerPoint, is that these foods, these animal foods, animal proteins, they are high biological value. These have all the essential amino acids for our body to take on and use. So these essential amino acids are coming from these animal sources. Next you have plant protein. So plant protein, so from animal protein to plant protein. So plants, nuts, seeds, beans, cereals. Also with the beans and pulses. So these come in the form of lentils, beans, and so on. So pulses, cereals, etc. These are the foods that are low biological value. So these do not contain all of the essential amino acids that you would be getting from animal proteins. So these have to be, you can complement each of these foods depending whether it be beans or nuts or so on, depending on what amino acids they have, and you have to mix them up to make sure, or vegetarians mix them up to make sure that they are getting all of the essential amino acids that they're missing from animal-based foods. And then last one, your alternative proteins. So animal protein, plant protein, alternative protein. And these alternative proteins, if you can recognize or you can even guess what these are. So you have on the left there, that is tofu. In the middle is the soya beans, the edamame beans, if you've ever been to Wagamamas or so on. And then on the right hand side, you have your corn pieces. So tofu, soya, and corn, these are your main alternative proteins. When it comes to these alternative proteins, so this is great for the vegan market, the vegetarian market. So it gives them not only a mix-up in terms of taste and textures within foods, it's also that range that allow them to have these amino acids. So they're getting these essential amino acids from these foods. For example, a high biological value vegetarian thing here is the corn. So here with the high biological value source of protein is corn. So these contain all the essential amino acids. So it wouldn't be a case of having to have all these different vegetables and so on to complement and try and get all these essential amino acids. Bump it up with a bit of corn, bit of tofu, and you'll be able to get those essential amino acids that you would be missing from eating meat-based products. So with protein, three main functions. So what is it doing? What does protein actually do for our body? Why do we need this protein really? Why do we need all these amino acids and so on? So number one, good one to remember, as most of us know within the class, helps us to prepare muscle. So think of those protein shakes that you can get. Reason why these protein shakes are out there for gyms and so on. If you go to the gym, remember, if you're going there, some people say, I'm going to go get ripped. They are literally ripping muscle, is a good way to remember it. And therefore, they need to repair that muscle with a protein shake or protein foods. So like with chicken and fish, so these high biological value protein foods helps to repair muscles. So that's one reason why we need protein within our diet. Another reason is that it helps us digest foods. So it helps our digestion, helps to make sure that we're breaking down foods properly, especially with amino acids. They help to break down foods within our gut so that we can absorb nutrients from other such foods. And then it helps the immune system being what you need to stay healthy. So making sure that you're getting the right nutrients, especially when it comes to micronutrients, being vitamins and minerals, making sure that your body is getting enough of these nutrients so that it's your defense against diseases and so on. So if you're deficient, what happens if you don't get enough protein? If you're deficient in protein, your skin and nails will be in poor condition. So why does this happen? Your skin and nails are made up of protein. So your hair, your skin, your nails, these are made up of like a protein called keratin. And without this protein, they'll weaken. They'll start to fall apart. Hope you like that picture. I'm pretty sure most of you have seen that picture before. Another lovely picture for you all. If you don't get enough protein, infections can develop easily. So with your skin and your nails and so on, they're not getting enough protein. It gives chance for infections to take hold, being that your immune system can weaken. Your immune system being your shield against diseases and viruses and so on. And the last main one being that food can't be digested properly. So as we saw with one of the functions of protein, why do we need protein? To help digestion, to help absorb those nutrients. If we're not getting enough protein, quite simply, it's the opposite. So the food cannot be digested properly. So why does it happen? So lack of protein, it changes the digestive system, it's saying. Yeah, so with all those amino acids that we're not getting, it's not allowing us to digest food properly. So to round up with our key points for the PowerPoint slide, so protein, remember, needed for growth and repair of body tissues. If you've not got this in your notes already, I suggest this would be a good time to look back and write down these key points, or look back and see if you've got these key points. So protein needed for growth and repair of body tissue. It's made up of amino acids. We need to eat essential amino acids, so those high protein, high biological value protein foods such as meats, animal products, and if you're not, if you're vegetarian, if you're vegan, you're getting it from plant-based foods, or you're getting it from your corn, which are high biological value because our body can't produce all the amino acids by themselves. And remember that the high biological value foods, high biological value, high in protein, all the essential amino acids from meat, fish, eggs, milk. And then your low biological value, cereals, nuts, pulses. Pulses, remember, being beans or lentils and so on. So these are your key points. Make sure that you've got these key points in there, and these key points are written down in the way that you understand. If not, go back into the PowerPoint slides, pause, take your notes where you can. Following on from the classwork and what you have written down, make sure, can you please, with the written work, can you take pictures, send them to me, show me that you've written down this work and that it's ready to be put into somewhere safe, like our exercise book, so we can use it at a later date. And then to finish off, I'd like you to please research and complete the following questions below, and let this be the nice roundup to our lesson today. So remember at the bottom here as well, a little note, you can find that relevant information in that digital book online. I'd like you to use that a little bit more if possible. The details are on Show My Homework, and you can go online to this digital book, which I've shown some of you. Go to those pages 2 to 7, and it will have relevant information in there, and you'll even see these practice questions in there as well. Good luck.